Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Chapter 2 The Vanishing Glass. Nearly 10 years had passed since the Dursleys had woken up to find their new pew on the first step, but Private Drive had hardly changed at all. The sun rose on the same tidy front gardens and lit up the brass number 4 on the Dursleys' front door. It crept into their living room, which was almost exactly the same as it had been on the night when Mr. Dudley had seen the fateful news report about the owls. Only the photographs on the mantelpiece really showed how much time had passed. 10 years ago, there had been lots of pictures of what looked like a large pink beach ball wearing different colored bonnets, but Dudley Dursley was no longer a baby, and now the photographs showed a large blond boy riding his first bicycle on a carousel at the fair, playing a computer with his father, being hugged and kissed by his mother. The room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. Yet Harry Potter was still there, asleep at the moment, but not for long. His Aunt Petunia was awake, and it was her shrill voice that made the first noise of the day. "Up! Get up now!" Harry woke with a start. Harry's aunt rapped on the door again. "Up!" she screeched. Harry heard her walking through the kitchen and then the sound of the frying pan being put on the stove. He rolled onto his back and tried to remember the dream he had been having. It had been a good one. There had been a flying motorcycle in it. He had a funny feeling he'd had the same dream before. His aunt was back outside the door. "Are you up yet?" she demanded. "Nearly," said Harry. "Well, get on and move. I want to look after bacon. And don't you dare let it burn. I want everything perfect on Judy's birthday." Harry groaned. "What did you say?" His aunt snapped through the door. Nothing. Dudley's birthday. How could he have forgotten? Harry got slowly out of bed and started looking for socks. He found a pair under his bed, and after pulling a spider off one of them, put them on. Harry was used to spiders, because the cupboard under the stairs was full of them, and there was where he slept. When he dressed, he went down the hall into the kitchen. The table was almost hidden beneath all Dudley's birthday presents. It looked as though Dudley had gotten the new computer he wanted, not to mention the second television and the racing bike. Exactly why Dudley wanted a racing bike was a mystery to Harry. As Dudley was very fast and hated exercise, unless, of course, involving punching somebody. Dudley's favorite punching bag was Harry, but he couldn't often catch him. Harry didn't look it, but he was very fast. Perhaps it had something to do with living in a dark cupboard, but Harry had always been small and skinny for his age. He looked even smaller and skinnier than he really was, because all he had to wear were old clothes of Dudley's, and Dudley's were about 4 times bigger than he was. Harry had a thin face, knobbly knees, black hair, and bright green eyes. He wore a round glass held together with a lot of Scotch tape, because of all times Dudley had punched him on the nose. The only thing Harry liked about his own appearance was a very thin scar on his forehead that was shaped like a bolt of lightning. He had had it as long as he could remember, and the first question he could ever remember asking his Aunt Petunia was how he had gotten it. "In the car crash when your parents died," she said. "And don't ask questions. Don't ask questions." That was the first rule for a quiet life with the Dursleys. Uncle Vernon entered the kitchen as Harry was turning over the bacon. "Comb your hair," he barked. by the way of a morning greeting. About once a week, Uncle Bannon looked over the top of his newspaper and shouted that Harry needed a haircut. Harry must have had more haircuts than the rest of the boys in his class put together, but it made no big difference. His hair simply grew that way all over the place. Harry was frying eggs by the time Dudley arrived in the kitchen with his mother. Dudley looked a lot like Uncle Bernard. He had a large pink face, not much neck, small watery blue eyes, and thick blonde hair that lay smoothly on his thick fat head. And Petunia often said that Dudley looking like a baby angel. Harry often said that Dudley looks like a pig in a wig. Harry put the plates of egg and bacon on the table, which was difficult as there wasn't much room. Dudley, meanwhile, was counting his pheasant. His face fell. 36, he said, looking up his mother and father. That's 2 less than last year. Darling, you haven't counted March's present. See this? It's under this big one from Mommy and Daddy. All right, 37 then, said Dudley, going right in the face. Harry, who could see a huge Dudley tantrum going on, began wolfing down his bacon as fast as possible in case Dudley turned the table over. Aunt Petunia obviously scanned danger too, because she said quickly, "And we'll buy you another 2 more presents while we're out today." "How that's Pumpkin, 2 more presents. Is that all right?" Dudley thought for a moment. It looked like hard work. Finally, he said slowly, "So I have 39 sweet terms," said Aunt Petunia. "Oh," Dudley sat down heavily and grabbed the nearest pickle. "All right then," Uncle Bannon chuckled. "Little Tyke wants his money worth, just like his father. Atta boy, Dudley." He ruffled Dudley's hair. At the moment the telephone rang and Aunt Petunia went to answer it while Harry and Uncle Vernon watched Dudley unwrapping racing bike, a video camera, a remote control airplane, 16 new computer games, and a VCR. He was wrapping the paper of a gold switch when Aunt Petunia came back from the telephone, looking both angry and worried. "Bad news, Vernon," she said. "Mrs. Fig broken her leg. She can't take him." She jerked her head in Harry's direction. Dudley's mouth fell open in horror, but Harry's heart gave a leap. Every year on Dudley's birthday, his parents took him and friends out for the day, to adventure parks, hamburger restaurants, or the movies. Every year, Harry was left behind with Mrs. Pig, a mad old lady who lived 2 streets away. Harry hated it there. The whole house smelled of cabbage, and Mrs. Fig made him look at photographs of all the cats she'd ever owned.